That's one of the things that drives me nuts with some schools that focus so heavily on competition, where the kids are taking the whole class with a smile. like who smiles for an hour and a half? Like, it's just not natural. Hello, I'm Peter Stark, the director of the Rock School, and welcome to my vlog. You might notice I have moved to a different part of my office. In my last vlog, I felt like I was really schlumping in the sofa. So I thought if I had like a stiffer chair, it would make my posture a little bit better. And actually you can see my teacher Stanley Williams and my mentor Fernando Bajones. So it's nice that I have some of my artistic past behind me. So you can comment if you like this view or the couch view better, and we can see where future vlogs will end up. But I am here today with another former student, the remarkable Noea, set a really great example for how to succeed in any dance program and really to succeed in any endeavor, because I think that your drive and your professionalism has really opened opportunities again and again and again. If you can just tell me a little bit about your story.
Hi everyone, I'm Noea. I'm 18 years old currently. I started dance at 4 years old. My mom put me in like a tap, ballet combo situation. And I'm not gonna lie, I honestly hated ballet. I loved tap. I was like tapper all the way. I was super theatrical as a kid. I was always dancing, always singing. And so that was definitely like my path. And then I was dancing until maybe around 8 years old, and I just kind of stopped because I wanted to do musical theater. I was Annie and Annie. I did I was a gorilla in Tarzan. I did like all of that.
Did you have a red curly wig?
Yes, I did. I actually did.
I want pictures. At our high school graduation here, you sang the national anthem, and
yes.
You blew everybody away because we all thought, we knew she could dance, but she can actually sing, like really. So you took singing lessons and all of that. Do you want to just talk a little bit about, just as a quick aside?
My mom put me in singing, ballet, tap, kind of like theatrical arts stuff. And me and my sister both really liked to sing. I particularly liked to sing and dance. My sister was actually more talented. My sister was like told like she could hardly speak English, but she was told like, you have the voice of an angel. And so my mom obviously paid for my my sister's singing lessons. And so she put me in singing lessons as well. And I think I continued on with it. And I also had a very good voice, or I don't want to.
You do.
I had a good voice.
You have a beautiful singing voice.
So I had a good voice. And so we kind of continued on. But it almost felt something like I felt pressure to do in a sense. Like people would always tell me that you have such a good voice. So it was like, well, I don't want to waste it. And I just love to be on stage.
Are we going to see you on American Idol someday?
Oh my God, probably. No.
You never say never.
My sister tried.
Did she really?
Yeah, but she made it to like the judges like final before you get onto the show. And they told her at the time, she has a very sultry voice, and they're like, you need to be more pop.
Oh, interesting.
And then my sister's like, okay, it's not worth it because I'm not going to sing like that.
So, that is interesting when you're given advice to go a certain direction, whether you follow your heart as an artist or whether you think, all right, if this is what it takes, I'll do it.
Right.
You mentioned that you didn't like ballet to start, and a lot of kids don't, which is actually why I think that tap and contemporary and character are great complements, because you can get more proficient at a younger age. Ballet, it takes a lot of years before there's anything really fun happen.
When I was 11, I actually performed professionally. Annie at the Hollywood Bowl. If you search me up, there are videos of me singing Hard Knock Life. I decided, well, I'm going to go to Broadway. This is it. Like, this is the path. Clearly, I'm talented. And so I told my mom, if I want to go to Broadway, I have to be a good dancer. And so I, Google searched the ballet studios in my area, and I found this small studio that seemed really like strict for whatever reason. And it seemed like there was kids, like there was, they were winning this thing called YEGP. And there was a girl who was going to the Royal Ballet School.
How old were you when you were Google searching?
I was 11.
This is the tip of the iceberg when you see somebody who has the eye of the tiger that has a goal. So you yourself at 11 were researching and looking for not a fun but a serious dance school.
Yes, and I wasn't even wanting to be a dancer at that point. And I was actually put in level 1, and I was like shocked. I don't know why I was shocked. I hadn't danced in like years, but I was like, I'm that beginner. I was like, I've done tap and I've done all these
Yeah.
performances, but I'm in level 1. And I remember I was with like probably like 9-year-olds and I was 11, which was a huge deal to me. Early enough, I started thinking to myself, wait, I really want to take more ballet classes. Little by little, it kind of became one class, became 2 classes a week, and then 3, 4, 5. And then by the time I was 13, I told my parents, yeah, I think I want to be a ballet dancer.
Talking about your mom, I do feel that's really good parenting to encourage, to allow your dream, but then to also be realistic. Are you sure that you're committed? Are you sure that you have the physical requirements? When you deal with them seriously, then they learn how to succeed, which you have
Yes,
done. Wow.
definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah. My parents definitely, they've always supported me. Everything I have is because of my parents.
And what was the name of that school?
Academy of Ballet Arts. And it's
Okay.
still open today in Temecula, California.
Obviously, it was a very good school. And then how did you come to the Rock School for the summer program?
When I was 13, I got my first pair of pointe shoes. And then when I was 15, my second YAGP. And it's really funny, I don't know if you know this, but I did Walpurgis Nacht, and I was doing like the first hops, and I actually fell off pointe. But I did the rest of the variation really well. But in my head, I was thinking, oh my God, it's over. And then award ceremonies happened, and I happened to get first place. And what's funny is it's actually the person who awarded me my plaque was Miss Natasha Ziegler. And I was invited to YHP finals, and I had a master class with Mr. Stark. And then he kind of, I honestly thought that you didn't like me. I was like, oh, well, this was a terrible class. And then funnily enough, I got a scholarship to come to Rock and came to the summer, and yeah.
When you teach those master classes at YAGP, and there's a lot going on because you're thinking, what can I say in a short amount of time to inspire young dancers? And then you're also assessing at the same time. So you're a little bit discombobulated. And I will tell you honestly, it's exhausting judging. Yeah, so it doesn't surprise me that you thought that I didn't like you, just because I was probably trying to like deal with the situation and take it all in. But then I remember clearly teaching you in Studio D at one of the first classes in the summer program. And my first thought was, wow, this is like a little Kelsey Kirkland. Because the way you approached your bar work was with such integrity and artistry and presence. There wasn't artifice of, that's one of the things that drives me nuts with some schools that focus so heavily on competition, where the kids are taking the whole class with a smile. like who smiles for an hour and a half? Like, it's just not natural. But you had like a lifted presence in the room that it was your artistry that stood out to me immediately at the bar.
But I clearly remember it was the end of my 2 weeks, and I hadn't really thought of leaving home yet. I was 15, I was really young, and I just started, I decided to do ballet like 2 years before. And I just remember, like, I walked out of the red doors of Rock, and I went on the bus, and as we're pulling out, I just remember thinking, no, this wasn't my last time here.
You did beautifully here. You ultimately ended up being a Sugar Plum Fairy for us, which was great, a Snow Queen. The last year you did Youth America Grand Prix here at the Rock. You were coached by Telmo Moreira, who is another phenomenal teacher we have here, and a teacher when he coaches that just gives so many details to the work. And for some students, it can actually be overwhelming. You have to be careful when you're coaching young dancers to give them enough information that they can absorb it, but not too much, because then sometimes you lose, you can't see the forest for the trees. But I felt that his coaching style of so many details worked so well with you because you're so intelligent and you're so disciplined that you were able to absorb so much information, ultimately really perform that like a professional dancer.
Yes. Yeah.
There's a couple of things that I want to bring out. I don't know if you remember, and I hope that you do so you can share this story, but Telmo came to me and said, Noea looked at the semifinal schedule and realized that she had to dance at 9 a.m. or 9:15 or whatever it was, super early, because in the semifinals, well, even the finals too, it's a whole day event. And actually, even some international ballet competitions, when Varna happened, there were rehearsals at 2 in the morning and stuff. So you saw that you had to dance early, and then what did you do? Because I think this is a perfect story for young dancers to hear.
I competed in the past at 9 a.m. and that was like one of the worst YHP experiences I've ever had before. And so I said, nope, I'm not going to repeat history. I know what I want. I want to do well at this competition. And so I saw that I was going to have to compete at 9 a.m. And I said, okay, so for the whole week, I'm going to set my timer every day, 15 minutes earlier. And so I was waking up, Monday started at like 6:30, Tuesday 6:15, Wednesday like 6, 5, 5:45. And so as the week progressed, I just continuously like woke up earlier, and then I started giving myself like a mini bar.
There's so much I like about that story, but mostly it's a personal responsibility. What you all go through between 14 and 18 is what everybody else gets to go through between 18 and 22 when they go to college. And when you become a professional dancer, a school like ours where we do a lot of hand-holding, we do a lot of intensive coaching, sometimes that doesn't actually replicate what you see as a professional dancer. Right. As a professional dancer, you're very self-motivated, and there's a huge amount of self-care where you have to get yourself to company class. You have to listen to the corrections that somebody else is getting. You have to understudy you understudy core, you understudy solos, you understudy principal, and then hope the first opportunity, often you haven't really been coached or rehearsed. Yeah. You just have to jump in. And those are the dancers that succeed, which is, why actually I think a lot of competition dancers don't make it, because it's like a hothouse orchid. It can grow in the greenhouse, but it can't grow outside in someone's home, right? Tell the results.
Yeah, so it paid off. Yeah, I had won first place in the senior division, and I believe second place in contemporary. Yeah, at YHP Philadelphia.
And then you went to the finals, and I have to say that I don't know if I told you the story. I think I did, but I wasn't judging your portion of the finals, but I was sitting watching, and Stephanie Saland, who is a former colleague for New York City Ballet and was truly one of the most beautiful artistic ballerinas that I ever witnessed in my life, grabbed my shoulder after you danced and leaned in and said, "Thank you." And she was referring to your artistry, your musicality, because I think in competition, there's this overemphasis on extremes, extreme flexibility, extreme feet, extreme balance, extreme pirouettes. And that's because, the whole Instagram, it's impressive. I do it too. I'm like, oh, look, someone just did 20 pirouettes. Right. But that is not ballet, actually. I can hear my teacher, Stanley Williams, saying, that's not ballet. It's putting the pieces together, which you did so beautifully.
It's always been my dream, and I was so lucky where the year that I went to finals, my last year here, the finals were held in New York City. That's so right. When I made final round, it was in the Koch Theater, Lincoln Center, right? Just dream stage. And still to this day, I will never forget, like, the rush of performing. I wasn't even nervous.
You can't control it. It's all based on opinion, right? Some people like blue, some people like green. So if you're dancing for somebody else's approval, there's always going to be some disappointment. Right. If you're dancing for your own joy, you'll always be a success.
Right. Yeah.
Well, and you mentioned you were born in Japan, and you are you're half Japanese, half American, yes. And of course you have 2 passports, and you're bilingual, which you would not necessarily note hearing you speak English, because you speak English like an American. But that I do feel like spending a little bit of time myself in Japan, that culturally it is a culture of gratitude and appreciation, and particularly when you mention your parents and your grandparents, it's an appreciation for elders and for teachers that we don't have to the same extent in America.
Yes, it's very, very
and
special.
So from the Rock School, you left and went to the San Francisco trainee program.
Yes, San Francisco Ballet School, yes, yeah.
Right, and you enjoyed that, and now you are about to embark on a new adventure.
Yes, so I'm going to join Orlando Ballet's second company,
which is
for
awesome.
The 2025-2026 season.
Of all the places I've lived, and I have lived in New York, Boston, Washington, D.C., Orlando, Tampa, and now Philadelphia. The best regional theater I have ever encountered is in Orlando.
Oh, wow.
And I thought, why is all this great regional? It's because all the Broadway people that ended up in theme park work.
Oh, they
And
have.
I think that they have this desire to, express themselves. So the regional theater is out of this world. One of the things I think is interesting is that the Rock School considers itself a stepping stone. So our students go from here to somewhere else.
Yeah, so it was my last year, obviously, like graduating year at SFB, the SFB San Francisco Ballet School. I didn't really quite realize how competitive getting a company job is or getting a paying job is. And I think especially now, lots of unpaid trainee positions and graduate programs. So I went to Orlando, and my first day there, I kind of settled in, just like saw my sister, and the next morning was the open audition class. I think there was 75
Wow.
people at that audition, including men and women, and then they cut down after bar to 20.
Wow, that's
And
a huge cut.
yes, and then only half of us were women. So
Wow.
most of the people in the 75 were women too. So they cut down to 10 women, 10 men, and then they only talked to 6 of us, and I just happened to be one of them.
Wow, that's great.
So it was awesome.
That's awesome. Why are you here back at the Rock School this summer?
I am currently a residence assistant at the Rock School Summer Intensive.
Which is something that we're always looking for every year. It's a paid position, and we always need young people to care for our many students. This year we have, I think, over 500 students in the Summer Intensive program between the 2 locations and the different week options. And you've done a remarkable job, and we really appreciate having you back.
It's been super fun.
And you get to take some classes too,
Yes,
which is good for you.
yeah.
So for dancers, it's a particularly nice thing to do on your time off, because you can stay in shape while you're making a little bit of money and caring for some kids.
Yeah, and it's really good to come back and see
Paying
all my
it
old
forward.
teachers. And yes, and I love to tell the students how great the Rock is. I'm like, if you're thinking of coming here,
Great.
you know who to ask.
I want to wrap this up. Thank you for tuning in. You can find more information on the Rock School on our website, which is www.therockschool.org. We're also check us out on Instagram and Facebook. Until next time, we'll see you later.
Bye.